Okay, hi, my name is Cindy Cutera. I live in Morgan City, Louisiana. I was born in Morgan City and I've been here all of my life. I was born in December of 1956. I'm married. My husband's also a lifetime resident of Morgan City. We have 3 daughters. 2 of them live in the area and 1 is in Lafayette. And the one in Lafayette just recently had her first baby and wants to come home as well. They just love being in the area, just the family and community environment here.
Well, we're out here today at Landon Park, and one of my first questions here is that what was the idea in coming to do this interview here?
Landon Park is, we camp here frequently. All of our family comes out. It's been the place, even when you were in school, where you came out for school trips and so on. And there are some things here that remind me of things that are going on with coastal restoration. For instance, the pipe sediment delivery from the Atchafalaya River over onto the beach. There was a beach extension project that went on right here at Landon Park, so just showing you what can be done with sediment delivery. There's also some other issues with nutria out here, and it's very representative of what CWIPRA is trying to do to help erosion of the area.
So you said that you lived here for all of your life?
Yes.
Okay. And so your kids still are living here, or are there?
I have 2 who live. One lives in Morgan City, one in Berwick, and they both have children. And these 2, they're both educators. And then, as I said, I have a 3rd one who stayed in Lafayette when she finished school. Now that she has a child of her own, she knows what it is to have family, and she misses a lot of our gatherings out at the park and at the house, and so she wants to come back home too. Would love to be here.
Why are Louisiana wetlands important to you personally?
For one, because of our way of life, you know, the fishing, the hunting. Our families have been here for generations in this area. We certainly don't want to see this area destroyed. And we're really fortunate because we are in a growing delta here. While the rest of the state is losing land, we're gaining land. Although we are gaining land, home at Terrebonne, just to the east of us, is losing land, and right now we provide safe harbor for a number of vessels that come in from areas east of us, and we need to continue to help them rebuild their land as well so that we can remain a safe place, safe harbor, and keep our citizens safe from hurricanes.
So, keeping that in mind, why would you think that CWIPRA is important, considering that all the things that you told me about the industry and the protection? What does CWIPRA provide in your eyes?
Well, CWIPRA has done so many projects that are now going to be tied to the state's master plan. So they've done these projects in various areas that have helped to stabilize the shorelines and various other projects, and it's provided even a source for people to see whether or not that type of project will work in the future, whether they want to do something else. So I think it's been a critical piece of coastal restoration and preservation.
And so you would say that the industry and the livelihood that we have here is one of the most important things that CWIPRA provides the protection for? Or?
Well, CWIPRA has to first provide for people, to provide for safety, but it does, and you know, this area, our big asset is water, our waterways, and it's navigation as well as the seafood industry. And so any of the bank stabilization projects that CWIPRA provides helps to allow navigation to take place through the area, and yeah, so you know, in industry, this is a working coast, so it's livelihood, it's life, and it is industry.
Now earlier whenever we were talking about how Hurricane Katrina had impact on this area.
Yes.
And you mentioned about the FEMA trailers being out here and how they had to provide for that. Could you kind of explain like what actually happened with this area whenever Katrina came through?
Okay, Katrina, we were actually, again, relatively safe, you know, from the major impact of Katrina. There was a Corps of Engineers project where there was a beach restoration and extension along LA 70 and along a lining on Lake Palourde. And that area, which was built through sediment delivery from Berwick Bay, allowed an area for trailers to, or actually the plumbing and electricity and everything to be laid out in an area where these trailers were able to be placed and people were able to live along Lake Palourde. Beautiful place when you're displaced from home, actually. But they were allowed to live here, you know, for I think about a year and a half or so. And so it was no real significant change. Busy in the offshore industry, of course, once Katrina hit. But
have you seen a growing number of people that are coming out here now that they have the land available?
Oh my gosh, yes. There are some weekends, especially holidays. You know, we just had Mardi Gras. There wasn't a place available out here for camping, and that did provide additional camping spaces I didn't mention earlier, but it was those, when FEMA trailers were moved out, this provided a whole new camping section. And in these areas now are filled, Halloween, any type of holiday, Shrimp and Petroleum Festival, whenever there's any kind of festival going on, the park is filled with campers.
In your opinion, what do we stand to lose if we don't continue to protect and try to restore our coastline through these projects?
We stand to lose everything. You know, we have our homes here. We've built our homes, our families, our way of life. You know, the seafood that we enjoy, the recreation out, like even in this lake. You know, just all of those things. Industry. If everyone has to leave the coast because we're not protecting the coast, then we're all displaced and have to start all over again.
How specifically are you engaged in coastal restoration activity?
I do work for the Port of Morgan City, and so we do monitor all of these projects because they can affect navigation, which would affect industry. But just as a citizen, I like to keep abreast of what's going on. You know, I mentioned family, and I want future generations of our family to be able to enjoy this area. It's just a great place, and so, you know, it's a personal thing as well.
Based on what you know now, what piece of advice would you offer to the next generation?
I think that they need to remain educated, which CWIPRA does provide the educational aspect as well about what's happening to our coast, but they need to remain educated. They need to become engaged in any type of legislative actions that will affect the coast, monitoring the plan, and just making sure that it does not affect our area in a negative way.
And thinking about that, is there like one specific thing that you would tell the previous generation if you could go back and do it again? Your people of your generation, the generation before you, is there something that you know now, and you would feel obligated in a sense to go back and tell them?
I think my biggest piece of advice is that we should have been more aware, more in tune to what was going on with the coast. You know, you're just hearing the message now. So would we do anything differently? Perhaps so, but I think it's just monitoring and being aware. We haven't done that.
So what would you say that you want viewers of this to take away from our discussion today?
That it's well worth every dime, every dollar that's spent to restore this coast, it affects not only the area that I've been talking about, our community, our families, but we provide for the whole nation. When I spoke about waterways earlier, you know, and this waterways being our asset, it's not only an asset to this local area, but to the entire nation. We provide transportation, you know, for their commodities, and it's a route out of here, out of the nation. So, you know, it's worth every dime spent to restore the coast. Definitely, I would never advise to future generations to recede. Do something to keep it stable.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I did want to mention that projects do, you know, like Lake and Park, for instance, Lake Pelord, with all of the wonderful things that it provides, everything provides some type of an obstacle. And this lake can also be a flooding issue for this city, because if water were allowed to flow up Bayou Chene and during high water periods and not be restricted, it goes down the Atchafalaya right back up Bayou Chene, goes into Terrebonne Parish, and it also comes into Lake Pelord, which would then provide a threat to the city. So, you know, and we did have, our levee district did a great project during the high water in the spring with the barge that they sunk, which actually helped everybody from flooding in St. Mary and Terrebonne Parish. So just, you know, water's to be enjoyed, but it's also you have to fear it just a little bit too. Our family, we have people that came from Houma. We had people from Patterson. We all kind of ended up in Morgan City. My husband's family is actually from Sicily. His great-grandfather was born in Sicily. They came over and probably had 2 or 3 children, then had his grandfather, my husband's grandfather, and several more kids after that. They opened a little grocery store here in Morgan City. A lot of Italian families settled here back in that time. This park was donated by the Garisco family, another Italian family that migrated into the Morgan City area, and they donated this property to the city to have a park for the public to come to. So, you know, we're a family, or my children have multiple ethnic backgrounds, from German to French. My mom's dad his dad came from Paris, France, and they came into Louisiana and ended up here in the Morgan City area when my mom was a little girl. So, you know, we've just all, it's just become tradition. We've all done different things. We haven't followed in the footsteps of prior generations as far as the work that we do, but we have all learned to live and love living here and loving the environment.